How's it going, everybody? It's Craig Bush Rocks. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about some past type stuff from, back when I was growing up and stuff like that. What was it like gaming and in general and stuff and things like that from the 80s and 90s. This was a lot different time from back in the day. When you think about it, it's like a lot of things changed after the 2000s and stuff like that for gaming and so forth. But in the early 80s, man, when I was growing up, man, I swear to God, pretty much all it was is like collecting toys, watching cartoons, watching MTV and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things I collected back when I was younger was comic books and stuff like that. When I had my paper out, we had our gaming and stuff like that, which me and my brother always had Atari 2600. So we always grew up with the Atari 2600 from the early days. I mean, really early days. We had our combat simulator and stuff like that. My dad brought home one time, and a couple other ones and stuff like that. But the most part, we always had our Atari 2600. But yeah, growing up, I had, like I said, I had my paper out and used to get all the cans and bottles in my neighborhood and stuff like that. And I always got pretty good tips from all my people that I deliver papers to. It was a different time back then too. So we used to deliver papers, and every Christmas I always got good tips from all my favorite customers and stuff like that. They always thought I was awesome. I did like 2 different paper outs. Sometimes I did a third paper out when someone was sick. I had to go do it. But I always got the cans and bottles. Everybody left their cans and bottles out there for me. So what I did with cans and bottles, I used to go to my local 7-Eleven store in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Oh, I love that. And I was trying to find a picture of that 7-Eleven store. I couldn't find one. I probably got one in my photo album, maybe. But I always pick up comic books. This is just a newer one, but just getting random comic books. That's how I got a lot of my comics. Like every Saturday, or actually, yeah, every Saturday and Sunday. When I go do the early morning, I'll get all my cans and bottles. I will sit there and go to 7-Eleven and go cash all the bottles in. Then have a little thing there where you put your bottles in. Then you just take them in, you count your cans, and then you get your deposit and stuff like that. And I'll take that money and buy comic books. Boy, I used to buy about 5-6 comic books in a day. Considering books then cost 75 cents, sometimes cheaper, sometimes $1.50. Then you get the special ones around $3 or something like that. But it was a great time from back then. But for gaming wise and stuff like that, only time we ever got to go get video games is for the most part is when my mom and dad would take us to the store and stuff like that and we'd look for games. That's how we got a lot of our Atari 2600 games going out and getting them out on clearance shelves, like at Sears or Montgomery Wards. They'll have games out and stuff like that. And Pitfall was like one of my favorite games and stuff like that. Same thing with like Dragster was an awesome game. But yeah, like the early the 80s and stuff like that, early 80s and stuff like that was just pretty much about it. We used to go out and hang out with our friends and stuff like that, go outside. And literally, when you hear about Gen X videos about what we used to do back in the day, that's what it was. We used to go out, don't come home until the lights are comes on. Sometimes we even get home a little later. We get in trouble, me and my brother. But we used to go down to the John Ball Park and raise havoc down there and stuff like that back when we were kids. I mean, raise havoc. We used to go up in the woods and act out different things and stuff like that, like whatever popular back in the day. It could be Indiana Jones, it could be E.T. or whatever, but just act out. I had my buddies and stuff like that. I had my buddy Jeremy, my buddy Robert, and my buddy Rich. We had all of our friends from back in the neighborhood and stuff like that, and used to hang out and ride our bikes and do all kinds of things. I would go spend a night at each other's houses and all that stuff like that. Go camp out in someone's backyard. I had my cousin go hang out over there. He had his He-Man collection. But gaming in general, we like I said, we always fell back on Atari 2600. I think my buddy Robert had like a NES and stuff like that, showed it to me and stuff, and probably had Mario Brothers. I probably played it back then. I don't think I knew anybody had a Super NES. I don't remember offhand, but those are kind of the awesome times. When you get to do whatever you want to in the 80s. Seat belts was kind of optional sometimes in vehicles. You go ride in the back of a pickup truck, Um, yeah, go out to mud racing and stuff. And but I always tell people the '80s to me was the best eras. I grew up in the '70s, '80s, '90s, and so forth. And I was a real little kid in the '70s. Um, I didn't do hardly any gaming in the '70s. I still collect the toys or draw or something like that and do whatever I can. I still got some of my stuff back when I was a little kid, but the '80s was awesome, and especially gaming wise and stuff like that. But when the Sega Genesis came out, me and my dad and my brother, we had everybody, we just all kind of hanging out. I think we got it at Montgomery Wards or Sears. I don't remember where we got it at, but we got a Sega Genesis at one of the stores, and I picked up some games. I think the one of the games I picked up was Cool Spot. I think it was, which is a pretty sweet game. So basically, I started collecting Sega Genesis, and later on down the road, one of my favorite games I ended up picking up would be Mortal Kombat 2, which I think back, I don't know if we did it. Yeah, I think when I had my apartment in the '90s or sometime, I had a Sega Genesis, and we used to play the crap out of Mortal Kombat 2. I know we used to play all the time, and yeah, that was great. My buddy Darren and stuff like that. I think he did all the fatalities and stuff like that in this game and recorded it. You know, back in the day, you had to record things. Internet was not a big thing back then. It was not even. It's just infancy and stuff like that. So, like for gaming, we had magazines and stuff. We would go to Myers or we didn't even have a Walmart really. If you think about it, in the early days, we had our Myers, and a couple other stores, and we go out and get gaming magazines. We had Electronics Boutique. I think GameStop came a little later, but I think we had EB Games. We had a couple other ones. Yeah, there was a few of them, but I've always kept up with like comics and games and stuff like that. Mostly comics in the early days. Games kind of came second, but I've always been a gamer. But Mortal Kombat 2 was a pretty awesome one. All the Sega Genesis games I collected over the years. Oh my goodness. I sold 90% of my collection of Sega Genesis. If I had to go collect all the Sega Genesis games I've had, I would have a huge collection. I already got a big collection of Sega Genesis and stuff like that, so it's not a big deal. I kept some of the staples that I played back when I was a kid, but I remember when N64 came out, and I ended up buying an N64 console. I didn't buy that one day one, but I did buy one. Um, yeah, that was a fun time trying to get a N64. But I think what was my favorite game I played? I'm just got a few games right here just to show, but the main one I played a lot was this one right here, Top Gear Rally. Not this particular copy, 'cause I had to rebuy because I traded a bunch of games in back in the day. But I rebought this one. Top Gear Rally was an awesome game. I think War Gods was another one I played a lot of and stuff. But yeah, just I had my life with the N64, and I had quite a few N64 games. I think now I got a bigger collection now of N64 what I had back then, which is kind of crazy because most of these games I never paid for. A lot of them I just find and just I have them. But I remember when PlayStation came out back in the early '90s and around '95, '96 or something. Whenever the PlayStation came out, and I think I bought the PlayStation almost day one, if I remember correctly. It wasn't too long afterwards. Having a job, you have indisposable income. And boy, me and my buddies, we all pretty much bought PlayStations and stuff like that. And what was one of my favorite games? Oh, probably this one right here was Need for Speed, Road Track Need for Speed. This game, we played the crap out of it, and any other Need for Speed that ever came out, we always played the Need for Speeds and try to unlock the cars. So in the '90s, it was kind of a different era for collecting. I slowed down on my comic collecting in the '90s and started focusing more on my gaming and music. Music was the other thing I collected. I started hardcore collecting was music, my music CDs and stuff like that. And when internet did come around, and I started figuring out how to rip CDs and stuff, and I got my early taste of ripping stuff probably in the late '90s, around there. Somewhere around that time is when I started figuring out how to rip CDs and stuff. Because Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But going back to gaming, we had games like Road Rash. This was a lot of fun. The soundtrack in this game was pretty great. Just getting on this game was a lot of fun. Just having it, and especially multiplayer at home, you playing. I've had many nights where if I was gonna drink a couple of beers and I want to go play a racing game. I had Tokyo Highway Battle. This is not my original copy. I wish I had my original copy, but still, I rebought this one and I still play it once in a while. Tokyo Highway Battle is just a great game, just to kind of zone out and just get on and just race in the game. I had a lot of fun with this one. My buddy John's Castlevania. I don't know what ever happened to him, but Castlevania used to go over to his house and we used to play the crap out of this game. And I don't think we've ever beat it back in the early days. We just kind of just got on it and played it. But, that was a lot of fun. But that was kind of like the 90s part of it. And I had a Dreamcast. I've had yeah, the Dreamcast I bought, I think day one, I believe. And I got quite a few Dreamcast games. That's another thing too. I've got a bigger collection of Dreamcast games, but I had back when I started back then, before, after the mass trade and stuff like that. I kept some Dreamcast games like Shenmue and stuff like that, and those kind of games, and Mortal Kombat. If I had it for that one, I would have kept it. Staples that I would always keep in my collection. But early days of just early days of when I was growing up. I want to know what your guys' similarities, if you're my age, what the 80s and 90s were. The 90s was kind of a party time for me too. That's another thing too. Ooh boy, did I do a lot. Yeah. That'd be another video about some of the stuff that I done that was kind of all crazy and fun, I guess. But just in general, when I talk about like the entertainment part of it, when all like gaming and comics and stuff and music, that's pretty much what I grew up with when I was as I was a wee little kid up till now. I think my first cassette tape was back in the early 80s sometime. I had got a first cassette, and it just went on from there. I got rid of most of my cassettes, but I kept all my CDs when they started coming out. I never got rid of one CD. I got everything I've ever bought on CD still. I think the only thing I've ever sold in my CD collection was part of my Metallica collection, and that was it. So I was getting kind of extremely, yeah, I was getting too big. So, but I got the bass set that I needed for Metallica now. But it's kind of a fun little retro trip, talking about stuff from way back in the day. Um, I might go into more details and of different things and stuff like that. I've done this before, but like those videos are probably buried. But I like to get more into like when Atari 2600. But yeah, it's kind of it's just something I wanted to talk about for a little bit, and I talk about this with people at work all the time. It's just they're probably watching this video right now. When you think about it, what was the things that you done back in the day? I mean, for like what I do and stuff like that. Did you game? Did you read comic books? Collect toys like Transformers and stuff like that, or GI Joes or He-Man? Let me know. All right. Hey, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of this video. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll check y'all in the next video. Playing some Crimson Desert right now. Fun times, everybody. Bye.